Welcome back to Boys on the Bench. We are into a new year, but we are in the last week of the NFL season, but we are still making bets on PrizePicks. And what we're doing today, the three of us are going to be providing you with our two best picks apiece, combining those together for a 6-leg parlay with an 11 times multiplier. So a lot of money on this line. It is a lot of incentives this week. There's a lot of players who are playing for financial reasons and looking to get that bump in their paycheck, but there's a lot of people that are kind of sitting out. They don't really care because they've locked up a seeding in playoffs or clinched a playoff spot, so they don't quite care about it. But anyways, Nathan, go ahead and let's jump into this. If you haven't heard of Daily Grind Fantasy, you are a step behind and you are only allowing the books to be one step ahead of you. Go ahead and check them out because positive EV betting is one of the best betting styles that you can be making nowadays. It is long-term the best thing that you can do for your bankroll, management, everything else. Quit your day job. Go ahead, get on this Daily Grind Fantasy. Look in the description below for the link. Click there and you will find everything out that you need to know.
Now, moving forward, let's go ahead. Let's kick off these Saturday night games. One of the bets that I'm going to rock with here, I'm going to go with Mason Rudolph over 149.5 passing yards. We saw what he was able to do the last time that he was out on the field. There was a lot of question about Kenny Pickett coming back, but safe to say that he is not. It's going to be Mason Rudolph starting. They kind of need to win here. They need to win and some help to get into the playoffs. So expect the Steelers to be coming out swinging, trying to get a win here. It's a safe bet. And if you've been following us in our Discord lately, you've noticed that I am on a hot streak here lately, boys. And we're going to try to keep that rolling. And the way I believe that we can do that is we can go with Mason Rudolph over 149.5 passing yards. My next player that we got, we're going to stay in the quarterback room here, and we're going to go with Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew over 199.5. I really like this this over here. I think it's going to hit. That's why I picked it. But like I said, trying to keep a hot streak alive, trying to keep money rolling into the bank account here. I'm doing pretty good here the past 4 weeks. So it's going to be kind of a pass heavy offense. They have been all year a little bit. Minshew is slinging the rock. So I think him being able to get over 199.5 passing yards here is easy. So those are the two guys that I'm going to go with for our parlay here. Let's go ahead and kick it over to DJ. See what you got going and cooking over there, brother.
So I'm actually going to stack one of the players that you said there, and it's Mason Rudolph. I really like the wide receiver matchup or that George Pickens has versus this Baltimore defense. Kind of Pittsburgh has put themselves in a situation where it's essentially a kind of a win and you're in type of thing, but it's crucial. They have to win, but they also have to have a kind of a couple other things fall their way throughout this week 18 matchups in order for them to get in. So I do think that obviously all of their starters are going to be playing. That this isn't a time to sit your starters. And the way that Mason Rudolph and George Pickens have been playing together these last couple of weeks has just been off the charts. So I love the chemistry that they have. If you look at their last 2 weeks, George Pickens has had 9 targets versus Seattle, 7 receptions, 131 yards. And then the previous week before that versus the Bengals, it was 6 targets, 4 receptions on 195 yards. Now, again, his line is currently set at over 46.5 receiving yards. I am taking the over. He has hit that line in 5 out of his last 6 matchups. So I do expect another solid performance from him here. Also, not to note, Baltimore is sitting a lot of their starters in this matchup.
Same thing.
Yeah, and their defensive side of the ball, Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton, both defensive backs, did not practice Friday, which is kind of a telltale sign on whether these teams or these players are going to play. It's the day before a game, and both of them sat out these practices. So I fully expect George Pickens, this is going to be a little bit of an easier week, and it would be a shock to see him not get 50 receiving yards in this matchup. The next one that I have here is in the later game, and it's Devin Singletary going over 63.5 rush yards. Indy does allow the 5th most rushing yards to running backs this season. They did face each other earlier this year. We didn't see Singletary kind of being that RB1 and the featured back. It was early in the year. And we saw Dameon Pierce being that featured running back. We did see him have 15 plus carries in that game, which is very important number to have and to consider, because if Devin Singletary gets 15 touches with his line currently at 63.5, Devin Singletary has hit over in all 4 of his matchups. He's had 4 opportunities where he's seen 15 plus touches and gone over 100, but his average over those games is 116 rush yards. So considering that Indy has a pretty poor rush defense, but also if Singletary is given that opportunity of 15 plus carries, which I do think that is in the game script, that's obviously what it was. And honestly, in that first matchup that they had, Houston was still playing behind, but Dameon Pierce still saw 15 carries. So I do think that this point in the season, the Texans are the better team over the Colts. So I will be taking Devin Singletary going over 63.5 rush yards. So Dalton, finish this off for us. We've got 4 out of the 6 picks. We are just needing your 2 to complete this parlay.
So guys, for my prize picks, I've actually gone with 2 players in the same game. The first one is for the Houston Texans versus the Indianapolis Colts. And I like CJ Stroud in this game going over 299.5 pass yards. So in this game, Houston and Indianapolis are both 9-7 in this matchup. The Colts and the Texans are going to be giving it everything they've got this Saturday. The Texans have the chance to win the AFC South for the first time since 2019, and a win would only increase their chances to get a higher seed in the playoffs.
Shock the nation.
So even though the Texans are probably going to get a wild card more than likely anyway, I still think they're going to want to play for this higher seed. And the last time that they played the Colts in week 2, they had CJ Stroud passed for over 47 attempts, had completed 30 times, and for over 384 pass yards and 2 touchdowns. So his line is currently at 261.5 on PrizePicks, but I'm going for that demon bet. And I think that DeMeco Ryans and the Texans are going to use their MVP caliber quarterback in this high state game. And I believe he's going to pass for over 300 yards. I'm also projecting a pretty high game for Nico Collins. But I'm not going to bet on that, as I like the quarterback better in this matchup. They're going to go with who they believe is going to win in this game. On the other side of the ball, for the Colts, for my second prize pick, I'm going with Jonathan Taylor for over 59.5 rush yards. That's currently where his line is set, and I really like that. This is a win or else showdown for the Colts. They have to win in order to really keep their playoff hopes alive and to get that wild card. So Houston's a pretty stout versus the run, but Jonathan Taylor has played his best ball versus some of the best run defenses. In the past, he went 75 yards versus the Browns, 95 yards versus the Saints, 69 yards versus New England, and 91 yards versus Tampa Bay, averaging over 5 yards per carry. Those are some of the toughest run defenses in the NFL, and he has shown that he's been able to produce. So he's averaged over 20 plus touches in the past 7 games. He's rushed for over 60 yards in the past 5 games in the last 7 matchups he's played. So this is an even higher stake for the Colts. So it makes sense for me that they're going to want to use their star-studded running back in this matchup in order to help them win this game to keep their playoff hopes alive. So that's who I have for my 2 prize picks.
What a great parlay we got going here, guys. I really like our chances. I think we can win big this week. But also, I just want to say too, if you're also interested in seeing any other of our personal parlays that we put together for ourselves for our sports betting addiction, you can go out and check out our Discord and see what we got and see what our streaks are and see how good we're looking and see how much money we're winning. Get in there, make fun of our picks and show us what y'all are doing out there.
Yeah. Anyways, hopefully that this episode, these picks, provide you some sort of value moving into this final week of the NFL season prior to the playoffs. Again, remember, a lot of incentives on the line. So anyways, let's go ahead and get it. Good luck this week. Final week of the season. See y'all next week.
Ride the pine, boys.